Today we're going to be taking a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. In the last episode we saw the start of World War IV, which was extremely important, because this is going to be the probably largest war in this series so far, I would predict. But anyway, let's just get straight into it. So we're going to be starting World War IV right here in the Sinai Peninsula, or I guess the front. This starts a few days after the war is declared, as we see a mass amount of parallelogram Egyptian troops start to flood into the Red Team's territory. They try and dart out and grab some major cities along the Levant area and start to kind of climb up the coast, which is, they're not really climbing, they're just more walking. But they kind of take over a lot of land here, and the Egyptians are doing extremely good straight away, because the Egyptians have one of the largest militaries in the world, actually probably the largest in the world. They have probably about 7 million operating forces, which world population, I'd say it's around 10 billion at the minute. That's probably the population of the world. We are in the year 2015 at the minute, September 2015 to be precise. But with this happening, the Red Team is going to make another landing, and that is going, they're going to try and make a landing somewhere else, and that's going to be right here near to Djibouti's capital. Now this is a pretty defended area since, well, it is Djibouti. They used to be a pretty big country in Africa and strong, but the people of Djibouti do kind of want to be liberated, so it's a lot easier, and they start a siege on the city. However, Egyptian military is also here as well. But this does little to nothing to stop the huge force that is invading into the, Red Team over here, and they're losing a lot of ground as this major city starts to be approached very early on in the war. Now coming over here, we actually have the Spanish invading Morocco. That's because Morocco was not ready for this war whatsoever. They didn't even think it was going to happen, and then it happened, and then they're like, oh wow, that's not good, I guess, as the Spanish start moving into Moroccan territory, and they start to also hit down here in this area. We're going to move from here to a pretty more interesting front, I would say, and that is between Italy and Sicily. But these two don't like each other, and well, Italy's invaded first because they are stronger, to be honest. The Sicilians, they're okay, but they're just not as strong as Italy, because Italy's been established for thousands of years at this point, and well, these guys haven't. But yeah, these guys are going to get absolutely crushed over here, and Albania's not going to make a landing because they can't be armed. But we are going to see them push them back down here to the boot, and we do have some Sicilian forces now with probably Egyptian help coming back up, so this is going to be a bit more tougher for the Italians to fight later on in this war. But Sicily is definitely outnumbered down here, but they can always rely on Carthage or Tunisia to help them out, which these guys are going to invade as well. Well, we have the Tunisians making a landing down here in Sardinia, taking the capital quite quickly, and Italian kind of forces come to occupy this area, but they're going to have to fight up against Tunisia's army now, which is pretty strong. Tunisia is a very established country over thousands of years, so yeah, they are pretty strong. We also have the Albanian Navy fighting up against the Croatian Navy. However, Albania is going to have a bit more of a struggle against these guys, as Anatolia will jump over the Bosphorus Strait. We have the Anatolians invading the Thracian country over here, quickly just completely taking them over, well, yeah, just like that. As they then invade into the Bulgarian country, wow, and Albania's forces are now going to come here. However, it's just not enough, and they start to lose. Wow, Anatolia has just done something for once. We then have massive naval stuff in the Black Sea. Well, Anatolia and the Ukrainian Navy are fighting up against each other like crazy over here. And we also have Arabia invading Anatolia. This is because, well, they can't really invade Egypt at the minute. They're kind of focused on other things. So they invade into Anatolia and, attempt to actually threaten the capital city, which is quite good for them early on in this war. But now we're going to go over to America, as some interesting stuff is going to happen. And while all that stuff has been happening, Cuba has completely fallen over to the Canadian Union. And then they invade over here into Hispaniola, just like that, and basically, yeah. But eventually Cuba is completely wiped off the map, and we then have the Canadian Union starting their invasion into Puerto Rico over here, and completely taking over all of Hispaniola. Canadian Union has the strongest navy in the world, and they're quickly able to neutralise the threats over here and completely take out Puerto Rico, now just having complete access to all of the Caribbean, which is very useful, because if Mexico ever tries to do something funny in this war, they have the Caribbean, which they can blockade their Atlantic trade then, which will be very useful for the Canadian Union. Now coming over to Finland, we have them invading the Lapland country up here, because Finland is able to do that. They are a pretty strong country at the minute. Finland has never had a time to shine in history, but well, I guess they're getting it now, as they have a big front against the Lapland country, and Russia isn't actually able to invade Finland because they have a bit of a logistical issue, and Finland may also be calling upon some old allies to try and join this war. But nonetheless, the Finnish front, which Finland has a very good cold army, they're able to invade down into Kola as well and kind of follow this river, which makes a really danky looking frontline border, which looks like that. I don't know why, and we could do that as well. But yeah. But now the Russian forces will start to arrive, as it seems like the Finnish, streak is over, as the, Russian forces, are here. However, similar to real life, Russia hasn't got a great they got an okay winter army, but it's not great here, as we are in probably in like October or November by now, so it's getting a lot colder. But we also have the Lapland country managing to push back a little bit and also retake their capital and push back over here as well and cut off the Colan troops, which is pretty bad because it's probably frozen over right now, so I doubt they can really cross. But we also have the Swedish doing something for the first time since World War III, as we have a naval landing being made down here in this island, in which they'll start their own naval invasion into Finland. Anyway, coming out to South America, the Amapolans don't really have anything to do at the minute, because Colombia, they're here, but these two are kind of signed a little non-aggression pact with each other, which is weird, but they have done that. And, the Anatolians are going to do something which is a bit risky, but they probably can do it with the amount of support they're getting from the communists. And that's the Anatolians are going to be invading into Brazil. As they take over the former Brazilian capital, Brazil is a very weak country at the minute. They are not very strong, and, Amapola could definitely use this for all the resources that they have, because Brazil is a very resource-prone country in this timeline. They have a lot of stuff that, the Amapolians don't have. But Brazil will do something, and I guess it's expected, but the Brazilians are going to decide to join the Canadian Union in this war and join the Diamond Alliance so they can receive help, in which they do, as we have a pushback being made over here in the nose of Brazil, which is a great name to call the place, that's what I call it. We also have a big thing in the jungle over here, but they also get more help, as Guyana will start their invasion of Amapola. Turns out they're not a very liked country down in South America, which I think was probably expected because they're the communist nation and South America is very democratic. But yeah, Amapola's in a very tough position here, because now all of South America has started jumping, not all, but most of South America has started jumping them, and they're just not a liked country, so yeah, they're going to get easily pushed back. They are probably maybe a little bit stronger than Brazil due to all the communist support coming, but that's not stopping them with all these guys, so yeah. Anyway, now coming back over to Europe, we take a look at a few more fronts. As the Spanish, thanks to an abundance of help coming from the Democrats, because they kind of want to push the communists out of Europe first and then invade Africa. That's kind of the game plan. But with a lot of help coming from the Diamond Alliance, we have them pushing the Moroccans all the way back to southern Gibraltar. However, then a communist offensive will start, as the Moroccans will try and push back against the Spanish. You manage to push them all the way back to this river over here, and also back to their border right in this region. But the Spanish are also going to have a pushback down here, and this whole bit is just one messy front with the Spanish and the Moroccans, because they are very similar in strength. But we also have the Albanians over here in this front, actually making a landing in Crete finally. They're able to fully take the island over because they're just Sigma. I hate that I said that. But now they're going full up against the Anatolian navy. Bye. And also over here, the Sicilians will push the Italians will push the Sicilians back. But in the most important front, actually, we finally have the Arabians pushing back against Egypt. This has taken a long time for them to do, but, like I said, Egypt has the biggest military in the world at the minute. They're able to push the Egyptians completely out of their Levant area, and even completely out of their entire territory, as the Red Team officially invades into the Sinai Peninsula. This is, I believe, the third time that the Red Team and Egypt have fought in a war, because this happens quite a lot in history for some reason. But it's just come at a little bit of a cost, and that is that Anatolia pushes the Red Team completely out of the northern part of their territory, and will then start their own invasion into the Red Team, in which they're able to push actually a lot. Anatolia does also have a very good military like Egypt, and they're able to push up to this northern river over here. So yeah, that's cool. However, again, this does come at a little bit of a backlash for Anatolia, as we have the Gold Country pushing a little bit back and managing to recapture the capital city. Anyway, now coming back up to Finland, we have them getting completely pushed fully out of this Kola area right here. We also have some pushbacks in the north with the Lapland country, just completely pushing them out. And yeah, this is not going very good, as the Swedish landing will only start to get bigger, and more troops will arrive, officially threatening the capital city big time, and the siege will begin. While the Russian forces will start to move along the coast over here, and Russia is probably nearly as strong as they were before World War I, because there's oil here, I guess, but it's not that important. I guess there was a bit down here, but and also Ukraine as well. But I mean, those are the only regions that they're losing. I also suppose part of Poland, but I mean, it's not as valuable as like all this land in Russia. So you know, the Russians will slowly start to invade more of Finland. However, then something will happen, as something good for Finland will happen, as two countries that they were formerly allies with will join this war. As we have the Latvian and Polish joining in. This is a very old sort of, I guess, alliance. Not really alliance. I mean, a very old thing. Like these guys have liked each other for ages. But we have the Polish starting an invasion into Russia officially. This isn't really a declaration of war, it's just more of an invasion because, yeah, and Russia was not expecting this one bit, so they're able to push very far into this country. You also have a push over here by Latvia. They get to push the Russians a lot back. And this is going to have a lot of relief for Finland, as in the next few months, troops will be moved from here to fight against the Baltic countries, so it buys them a little bit more time to push back against Sweden. As there's also a bit of pushback against Russia as well. And we have a few little, like, small push-ins back into the colder country. And Finland will be able to push these guys back a lot, as you can see. So yeah, it's doing a lot better for Finland, but the Russian forces are finally arriving down here now, which is not great for these two countries, as they'll both be pushed back at a similar time. These two aren't really interested in communism. What they're more just interested in is winning this war, because they don't like Russia. I mean, this is, I guess you could call this like kind of like an ancient rivalry war, because there's loads of stuff going on. Like this, the red team in Egypt. There's these three countries over here. These four, I guess, they've never liked each other. There's also Italy and Sicily, and just a lot more as well. Oh yeah, and Anatolian in the red team. That's another one. The communists are certainly doing their best against the this alliance, and well, they're doing fine. I mean, it's very good, but the Democrats are going to have a trick up their sleeve, which they're going to officially use now because they've used this one here. So they're going to use one of their own, and this is going to possibly decide who wins this war, because this is one of the, I guess, biggest things that could, and the best things that could happen for the Diamond Alliance, and that is that the Gear Alliance will join this war, as the 7 members in this alliance will finally decide to, I guess, fight against the communists, which they haven't been able to do. The communists have had this sort of immunity in Africa for a long time, so they're going to hopefully finally be able to take them out. As we have the Northern Angolans starting the invasion of Namibia. Namibia is a very weak country, they're not very built up well, so the South Angolans are going to be able to beat them back very easily and just like take pretty much all of the country. Not to mention the gold team is also here as well, so they'll be able to push it in over here, and overall it's just a complete gangbang for this green country here, as they lose all of their land. But we also have this yellow team over here invading the gold country. They're able to do this because they're probably stronger by this point, a little bit stronger at least by like a margin. And the orange plus peach country down here is also going to start an invasion like this. But the yellow team will quickly be able to take this entire area over, because I hate how it looks. But now we have, Angolan forces starting to arrive in this country, so, while they get pushed back. Also see the Angolans pushing in over here. But anyway, over here, the Angolans are also just, like, kicking ass against this country, because, I mean, well, they're not very strong. Angola is the 15th, I believe, strongest country in the world, and they officially start their invasion into Nigeria, which they are probably a similar strength to at this time, as the invasion will start. Coming up here, these guys are going to be able to invade Egypt, and Egypt, they could care less, because, I mean, they're okayly strong, but they're not going to be able to beat them in the end, so they're going to let a small invasion force kind of invade into the country at the start, just because, well, they can just take it over later, so it's all fine. It's all fine and dandy, guys. We do have this country invading into Chad, and Chad is not going to do very well in this war because they're cooked, and yeah, Chad is just they're going to get pushed over to the border of Nigeria, and they're a very weak country, so they're going to fall over. But over here, unfortunately for the red team, their landing in Djibouti is completely taken out, and this is because Djibouti has a pretty big population, so they're able to do this. And they'll be getting supplies from a certain alliance over here in Asia. But over here, the red team is taking out the Sinai Peninsula really quickly, because they are just able to do it, and that is probably why they lost their landing, and they're trying to push up to the Suez, but I don't know if they're going to be able to. Egypt is kind of like a bit, I guess, not really leaving this war at the minute, but they're not caring as much as they did at the start because they got other things to worry about. But the reason they're kind of like pushing back is because they want the Moroccans to do better in Spain, and well, yeah, they're pushing completely back like this. Morocco has about 1 million troops, and they're able to push into Spain now, which is a huge thing, and they start advancing around the Iberian coast, trying to threaten the capital. We even have a landing taking place in Ibiza by Morocco, and they fully take the island. While up here, the front line will start again, as all of Sardinia will now fall over to Carthage, as they then start an invasion into Corsica. But this is kind of like at a cost as well. I mean, everything at the war is at a cost. It should be the War of the Costs, which is a terrible name, but yeah. But all of the Italian peninsula is now once again under the Italians, which if I just do something like this looks nice. But the Italians will finally make a landing in Sicily, and will start the invasion into the thing they used to own like hundreds of years ago. But not so fast, as communist troops arrive, like flocking quickly, because well, yeah, the communists are a very united alliance. They kind of work as one big country in a way, which is weird, but that's what they kind of operate as. They all decide the political things of their alliance, and they if another member is losing in the war, then they send their troops to help them, because that's how like kind of united they are in a way. But over here we have Egypt making an invasion against the green team, and this is like kind of part of their plan. They want to invade the green team so then they can, you know, invade the red team after. But they're going to start the big invasion now, as they start just smacking them utterly around. Egypt by this point could be stronger than Arabia, but who actually knows. But over here we have the, well, Chad country starting to be liberated by all the countries around them, because the green country is rapidly losing their army and military. This getting smited by Egypt, who they're probably breaking a few things in well, the real life with Geneva Convention, but here the Geneva Convention doesn't exist. Like the FS, I never really explained what happened to it, but it kind of just faded. Yeah, it was weird. It just stopped like existing for like after the war, and don't know why, but it just did. And there's no international organization to stop Egypt from doing any war crimes here, so they're kind of allowed to do whatever they want. And genocides will commence, so yeah, that's, I guess, cool. And it's to try and push these guys to leave the war, and it's kind of a smart strategy, I guess, but it's cruel. Over here we have the Djiboutians invading the gold country. These guys, the gold Kenyans, they're actually Kenya, so yeah, that's cool. But we also have Tanzania making the invasions over here. Tanzania, despite the fact that they're communists now, they still want to grow their empire, so yeah. Remember, communists don't take land. We also have the Nigerians over here pushing back against the Angolans, and they start their invasion back into this country over here in a kind of quick move. Over here, the Sicilians will push back against the Italians. However, yeah, again, you can guess this does come with a bit of a different thing, as the Italians will push these guys out of Corsica. But over here we have the the Anatolians pushing into Mesopotamia now officially, or against the river area, and well, they're doing extremely well against the red team, and they're not able to fight back for some reason. Anatolia is just doing super well in this war, and the red team's having many just logistic nightmares over here, and it's just going so horribly for them for some reason. I don't even know how they're doing this bad, but yeah, Anatolia is crushing them. But this does come with a bit of a cost, as they push the Egyptians back to the Suez Canal over here, and they are like close to entering in. Oh god, But yeah, the South Sudan country, also down here, is getting cooked by Egypt, like just cooked. Come back to the Americas, which I haven't focused on in a long time. The Amapolans are just now starting to beat back Brazil a little bit, and well, this isn't going to last very long. But, well, it happens, and yeah, wow. But then there'll be a kind of shining, I guess, sky, what? Then there'll be a good thing that'll happen for the, well, the parallelograms, as we have the octagons joining in on this war on the communist side. But over here, we officially have the Texans starting the invasion of Florida. I mean, this is only lasts a very short amount of time, because Florida is, stronger than Texas, let's just say that. They are a lot stronger than Texas. Like, I can't even put it into words. Florida is the 21st strongest country in the world, just behind whoever the top 20 was in the last episode. I think it was Ireland, but yeah, they are able to push up to this river here. Over down here, well, the Mexicans are going to be able to do something against the Colombians, which is kind of like World War III, but they managed to push over to the Panama Canal. And we have a mighty pushback by the Amapolans, who have been working with the octagons pretty much all along. They've been just waiting for this moment where they're looking like they're about to lose. But, well, you know, this will come in, and the capital of Guyana will be captured. in which the Guyana government, who is quite weird, will just end up surrendering, and yeah. And now, well, it's full steam ahead against Brazil and the, Colombians, as we now have an invasion starting into Colombia, which this is a big moment for the war as stuff changes here. And Trinidad and Tobago is captured, which is quite a valuable island. Going back to Europe, we actually have an invasion into Sardinia now, as the Italian troops will start to liberate the country, and Carthage is nearly fully pushed out. And finally, this isn't actually going to be paid back this time. The Sicilians are going to get pushed all the way down out of the Italian peninsula, and they officially now start the invasion of Sicily. But, Sicily is going to get their capital cornered, these two cities are going to be captured, and finally, after years, Malta first, Malta is captured as well, but finally, after years of trying, in 2017, the Sicilians will officially fall. On June the 7th, 2017, the Sicilians will officially fall. With the Sicilians dead, the parallelograms are going to have to look for another replacement for them, and they just found one. As the Romanians will officially join the war against the democracies, which this has happened again. Sorry. But the Albanians will start to get invaded by the Romanians, who are probably a little bit stronger than them. And, it also happens in Hungary as well. And Hungary hasn't really had anything in this war so far. But, this is going to happen. But Ukraine, they were ready for this. They probably knew this could happen. So they have their invasion forces ready, and they start the invasion into Romania. So, and they push them fully up to this part of the river here. Now up here we have a lot of changes because we haven't focused on this in a long time, but Poland is pushed completely out of Russia, and so is the Latvian country as well. And invasions are made into the both countries, and this just kind of brought Finland some time so they could do their army, but this is really only for that. They only kind of wanted to buy themselves some time, and then but the Hungarians are also starting an invasion up into the Polish now, and it looks like the Polish are going to again be wiped off the map after this war because they just can't get wiped off enough. But the Germans will also do this as well. The Germans have kind of, not reunited, but they've formed a mini German empire in a way. Not really like it was before, but they're kind of working all together under one thing. It's kind of like the EU, but capital Poland is captured over here, so yikes. But they will meet up with this river here and just kind of split Poland from the river. So you see how it is. Anyway, the Russians are going to get. They're just going to invade into all of Poland, and RIP Poland and Latvia also, RIP Latvia as well. Latvia RIP. Now these two are dead, Finland is all on their own. However, they have managed to push Sweden fully out of their country and push the Russians back over here in a tremendous move, and just managed to nearly push them entirely out of their country. Not nearly, but quite good. And they start an offence up to the Lapland capital, in which they are able to capture it. But Sweden is kind of in the middle of something, which is why they have been kind of useless during this war. And, there's a bit of instability in Sweden. Sweden, as you kind of know, was never big on the democracy kind of utopia thing that they're kind of in at the minute. So an uprising will start. And this is going to be an uprising, a monarchist uprising actually, of the grandson of the former king. He is uprising down here. His grandfather did die in prison over here in this city here. But, But the uprising will start down here as the monarchists will officially return in Sweden. But Copenhagen will also fall over because Copenhagen is actually big in support of a monarchy, and some other areas as well, such as this region kind of next to Norway, they are in support of the monarchy. And the uprising will also just start all over Sweden, which is not good. But Sweden isn't the only country with these instabilities going on, as Norway has them as well. With many of their southern areas down here, and also all of this region, which I don't know why, but they all rebel away. And Scandinavia has just been put into a full-on crisis, as now they are in an act of civil war. Denmark is sitting there like, what is happening? But the rebellions will just swallow most of southern Sweden really quickly, pushing them down to the capital, and, even the government is in support of this, like the democratic government, and they're just going to let Sweden become a monarchist country, in which they do, and take a look what happens now. As, this happens, and then eventually, Norway will fall over as well, as both of these countries will officially get new governments, and monarchism will return in these two countries here. The age-old monarchy is back, and they will also leave the Diamond Alliance, as this will happen, and also at the same time, the sort of Scandinavian economical alliance will also completely just disintegrate. But the communists are actually really happy with this, and they say, hey, you know, we're going to give you a little gift because you left this war, and we're going to give you an occupation of the Lapland country, and you're going to get this land if we win this war. So that's quite nice for them to do. But this is going to help the Finnish tremendously, as they now completely push the Lapland into a point where they literally have no sustainable government, and they will fall completely over to Finland in a very lucky move in the northern parts. With this happening, Sardinia is also getting pushed back over here due to, you know, stuff. And Egypt will start a pushback from the Suez now officially and back into the red areas over here. And they're beating up in the Sinai. Over here in America, it's a bit of a different story, as we have the Texan capital being captured, and Texas is cooked. And then, you can see what's happening. Texas is getting bamboozled by the Floridians. Over here, a bit of a promise is made. Mexico says, we'll give you some land from California if you invade the Baja country does that. So the Baja country will do that, and we have the invasion of California starting. They're probably stronger than California, I would say. However, there's a country that's definitely, they're not stronger than, that's the Canadian Union. And the capital is captured over here. However, this is only going to last a little bit, as at this point the Canadian Union forces have arrived, and a pretty big stalemate is going to be happening because a lot of Mexican forces are up here. And then officially push past the Panama Canal as well into now Colombian areas. And they're also going to stop at the Darien Gap because it's the Darien Gap. But the Ampola country will do some work, and this is very kind of similar to World War III when the Brazilians and the Mexicans worked together. And Brazil will start to crumble from inside out, as the country is just not really functioning very well. They are losing this war, and the government isn't very liked at all. So with communist support coming in, and at this point, there's probably technology that can let them go through the jungle, so it's not like too hard for them to do it anymore. They probably have like space boots. But Brazil will be like kind of hunted down the coast, and eventually a battle of the capital city will be had, and then the capital city will be taken by the Anatolian country, and they'll then hunt down the rest of the major cities, taking all of the coastal area ones, and eventually make a huge spearhead out from here and take the final major city of Brazil, and Brazil will fall over to the Anatolians. In this war, the Anatolians, which is a country that looked like extremely bad at first, they were losing this war, but now they've just completely turned this around with a lot of support, and yeah, let's see what they can do in the future of this war, because there's still one enemy that they can fight against. And also over here in this region of Egypt, the green team is getting just beaten back like senselessly. So yeah, it's not going very well for them, and they completely lose all ground in Chad. However, over here the Angolans are able to use a lot of their military. They have a very high population, over probably around 100 million-ish. They'll be able to start their push into this region here and invade into Nigeria, and over here in the north, the red team is finally able to get their, excuse my language, shit together. And they will invade into Anatolia now and just completely push them back over here because, they're finally just finding a way to do it. And the logistical issues have ended, and they're able to push Anatolia very far, like up. But down here, Egypt is going to be able to push the Arabians out of the Sinai very easily, and, do that. And we also have a pushback over here, and the Spanish are going to be able to finally push back against Morocco over here, and it's a very even war. We'd also have the gold team pushing back against Anatolia, and we have the Thracians getting liberated as well, and they get pushed all the way back to over here. However, then something really big will happen, as many countries will start to join this war on the side of the communists. This is known as the Great Communist Recruit. First of all, the entire Triangle Alliance will join in on this war. Next, we have the Persians joining in on this war against the alliance. This is very interesting because Persia does not like the red team. We all know that. They hate each other. But finally, the most interesting one of all, as Caspia will join the war against the red team. Although the rivalry in the red team's eyes has ended, thousands of years ago at this point, Caspia does not think the same. As secretly since the war, not really secretly since the War of Succession, but they've been holding a grudge against the red team for some reason. I don't know why. Unk just let it go. But they will mobilise their military and officially invade the red team once again, as the ancient rivalry has returned, as well as with help from India and Persia. Persia starts the invasion over here, but the Egyptians will be able to just completely push back over here, and this is going to be extremely good for them. And also Anatolia will push back over here, and the war looks like it could have changed completely. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I'm going to continue the rest of World War 4 in the next video because, well, next video, ooh, it's going to be good. But I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. As I said, this is going to be the end. And yeah, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.